Hey guys, it's your girl Leah. Today I'll be doing a July wrap up of all the books that I read in July, and so far I read two 3-star books. I read two 4-star books and 4 5-star books. So let's get to it. So the first book I read in July is After We Collided by Anna Todd. I read this book because it was a continuation of the book After. This also follows the same story as Tessa and Hardin, where it left off a cliffhanger in the first book. If you guys ever read the After book, it ends with a cliffhanger when Tessa finds out that Hardin plays a bet on her, and she finds out from his bunch of his friends, and she's devastated, like she's heartbroken. And so far, like, this book continues like after the aftermath of like the bet and stuff, and like how like Tessa's handling it and stuff like that, and how Hardin is, how he's changing for Tessa. But I gave this book 3 stars because I wasn't really feeling how the book was. Like, it started off on a good note, like, you know, Tessa being brave, big enough. She was kind of like emotional towards like the first couple chapters of the book, and then like Hardin also, he changed a lot. Like his character development changed a lot in this book, but in bad ways though, because if you guys know, like if you guys read the After book, you guys know like Hardin, he is much of a he has anger issues, and he gets mad a lot to a point where like it's like I'm reading, I'm like, oh my god, like stop being a brat or something like that. And like his anger took the best of him in this book, because like I don't know, it's just like he became really like like he kept controlling Tessa. He kept like telling her what to do. You know, Tessa is her own woman, she could do whatever she wants to do. And like he just came really like protective of her, which is nice, but like he just did it in a way where like, oh, Tessa's mine, you know, no one can have her, you know, she's mine. And he just became really aggressive in certain times, like where his anger took over. And that's where I took many stars off of this. Like this was gonna be like a 4-star read, maybe 5-star read, and then like I don't know, like those things kind of like triggered me to give this book a 3-star. You know, I love this book, I love this series. I'm probably gonna read After We Fell, but Hardin is just a very angry person that he needs to change because he loves Tessa. I just think that he needs to, in general, like of himself. I don't know. That's how I felt. So I give this book a 3-star. The next book I read was A Nearly Normal Family by M.T. Everson. This was a Book of the Month selection that I picked. This was also a thriller that I read, and I gave this book a 3-star as also because I just feel like when I read the synopsis of this book, like if I talked about this book before in my reading vlog and my book collection, that like this was like a typical thriller book, like that everyone knows like the ending of it. And like I feel like for me, when I read the synopsis of this book, I was just like, oh my god, I already knew what's gonna happen. I just really knew from like what I read. If you guys don't know, this book follows a girl named Stella who's 18 years old, and she's been accused of a murder that happens in their hometown of a guy who's like 35 years old, like way older than her. And she's been accused of it. She just got to jail because of the crime, because she fits everything that they find that was there of the murder and stuff like that. And this whole book just goes on about her dad, her mom, and herself point of view of like how they feeling, how they like how this whole murder trial is like going off in a crazy way. And I already knew how everything was. It just like it wasn't like a good read for me. I just felt like this was like a basically like when you read it you already know type story. So it wasn't my favorite, but it's, even though I liked it in some aspects, but I had to give this book 3 stars. So the next book I read in July was Lock Every Door by Riley Sager. This is also a thriller book that I read. I actually didn't read this. I listened to it on audiobook, and I love this book so much. Like I gave this book a 5-star because like I don't know, like when I listened to this audiobook, like it made me feel creepy in a way. Like this story was about a girl who gets a job at this apartment building where she gets paid to apartment sit, and she gets paid like a lot of money just to like live there and get this money. And then it starts getting weird after that. Like a lot of things start happening, and like also like the person that interviewed her also gave her like these rules that were so weird at first, and I was just like, if I was her, I'm like, I don't want to take this job. But I don't know, like this job seemed really weird and stuff, and people living there would just kept like hushing and stuff like that, like, about like, because also a girl was missing after like a few days after the girl moved in, and the girl wanted to find out what happened, and everybody just kept like, oh my god, I don't know what happened to her, blah blah. It just seemed really like weird and stuff like that. But this felt like a horror book as also, and I was just like, oh my god, this book is so good. And I just loved every plot twist that I didn't see coming, because I was just like, I did not know. But yes, I gave this book a 5-star. Next book I read was Bloom by Kevin Panetta. This was a graphic novel. This is my first graphic novel that I read like ever, and I loved it so much. This book was about a boy named Ari who is in a band, and he wants to pursue his dreams as a a band artist, like be in a band and pursue his dream. So his family also owns a bakery where like he bakes and stuff like that for them, and he also wants to find someone to help his parents out because he's deciding that he's gonna leave. And he meets this boy, I forgot his name, but he hires him and he becomes best friends of him and something more. This book is a queer relationship book. This was new. It's my first time reading a queer book, and I loved it so much. I gave this book a 5-star as also, because I just loved how like they had like the cooking aspect in the book. Like they showed like the cooking and the baking and everything else. And I loved how at the end of the book they gave like recipes of like the foods that were shown in the book. It was just so cute. I just loved how like the book was, like the pictures, like the blue tone of the book. It was just really, really beautiful. Next book that I read was The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelis. I gave this book a 4-star. It was a good book. This book was about a girl named Alicia who comes home and she shoots her husband in the face 5 times. That's what caught my attention. That's why I had to listen to this. I listened to this book on audiobook also, and it follows her like after that, like she shoots him and she goes silent after she shoots him. So they placed her in a mental hospital where this psychotherapist named Theo, who helps her, like he wants to find out why she became silent, why she shot her husband in the face 5 times. And it just follows Theo, the psychotherapist, and Alicia through like weeks. I think in her diary, it follows like her diary, and it follows the guy Theo, the something about like, you know, how he wants to help her and how he's helping her. And the plot twist in this book is so good. Like, I recommend this book so much. Like, I had to give this book a 4-star. The reason why I gave this book a 4-star is because like the ending was kind of weird. Like, I don't know, like I didn't understand how it ended. Like, it made no sense how it ended. But the plot twist in this book is really, really good. I really recommend this book. Also, like reading it, like listen to it on audiobook, I loved it. Like, it was so good. Next book that I read was Sometimes I Lie by Alice Feeney. I gave this book a 4-star. This book I talked about in my my summer book haul. I'll link that up below if you guys haven't seen it yet. But this book followed a girl named Amber who's in the hospital, and she's also in a coma. She can't move, she can't talk, anything, but she can hear everything that's around her. Like, everything, like people talking, coming inside the room, everything. And it follows her like weeks before her accident, how she ended up in the hospital, how she ended up in a coma. It follows her and her diary, and also follows that's about it. It follows just like, yeah, it just follows that. And the book was okay. I didn't really like it in a way. Like, it caught my attention like maybe like halfway in this book, like maybe like 100 pages in, but it just like maybe like towards like the end, like this chunk half of this book was just like really, like this book had a huge big plot twist that made me leave like by the end of the page like, what? Like, this book was just so weird towards the end. It didn't make any sense, like, at all. But at the same time, it did make sense, but it wasn't like much of an explanation why or how. But it was a good thriller. It was also this was a thriller also, and I gave this book 4 stars. I just didn't like it. I was gonna give this book 3 stars, but I liked it. It's just the ending and everything else, like halfway through, was really, really weird. So I gave this a 4-star. The next book that I read was Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating by Christina Lauren. I read this book on Kindle. This book was so good. This was a romance novel. It was so cute. This book was about a girl named Hazel who's like outgoing, fun, really like enjoyable to be around with, and she met this boy named Josh in high school when she was 18, but he was already like in college, and she went to this college party where she met him, and she threw up on his shoes, and ever since then they've been close friends, really best friends, and they haven't seen each other in like many years, and they finally meet up. They, you know, talk, hang out, and he has a girlfriend, and like ever since then, like she always had like this big love for him. Like, she likes him so much, and like one night they sleep together, and it kind of just ruins their relationship, kind of, in a way, like their friendship, and like they're like many things of why they should not be dating. Like, both of them know like they could not date because they're different. I don't know. I love the book. It was so cute. I gave this book a 5-star. I really enjoyed it. It was such a cute romance. And the last book that I read was All We Have Left by Wendy Mill. I don't know if you guys can see that. Yeah. But yeah, I read this book. I also hold this in my summer book haul, and this book was about these 2 girls. They go between like 2 different timelines, one in 2001 and one, I think, 2016. It's about one girl in 2016 named Jessie. She had an older brother named Travis who died in the September 11th attack, and how she's like grieving, and how she's like handling all this with her dad at home, being angry about how her brother died, and just everything, and how she just hang out with the wrong crowd and being like like a bad girl kind of in a way, and the only way she could like make amends with herself and her father and her family is if she could find out what happened to her brother, her brother in his last final moments in the Twin Towers. And then also the other timeline in 2001 talks about a girl named Aaliyah, who's a Muslim girl who, you know, life as a teenager is difficult because she's Muslim, and she's grounded because of a thing that happened at school, and she decides to confront her father who worked at the Twin Towers, and that's when she gets stuck in the Twin Towers because one of the planes went to one of the towers, and she meets a boy, and they had no choice to find out a way to get out the Twin Towers alive. So I really enjoyed this book. This is really sad read. Like, if you want a book that's like a good sad read, I recommend this book. It was so sad. Oh my god, I gave this book a 5-star. Like, I was crying. Like, I usually don't cry so much when it comes to a book, only like sometimes, but like I never read sad books, that's the problem. But this book was so good. Like, it made me cry like all the way through the ending. I really recommend this book to anyone. Okay guys, that's all of my July wrap up that I read. I read 7 books in total. That's a lot for me because I usually don't read a lot of books, like especially like 7 books all in 1 month. I think that's good. So I hope you guys enjoy. I hope you guys please like this video. Please comment down below how many books you read in July, and tell me if you did and how many books did you read. And I'll please appreciate if you please subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you guys in my next video.